Mission:impossible-Fallout. That's how you spell the title if anyone out there was confused. Now, I'm not caught up with the whole Mission Impossible franchise. I'm not even sure which one's the last one I've seen. I didn't see the previous one. That much I know. And I've never been a huge fan of the earlier ones either. But I do like Tom Cruise. And Christopher McQuarrie's made some good movies too. They did Edge of Tomorrow together, which I thought was great. But McQuarrie only wrote that. And he's written other things too, like Usual Suspects. But overall, I'm not that familiar with his stuff. Anyway, people told me this was great, so I decided to check it out. But right off the bat, I gotta be honest, I didn't care for the characters or the plot. And that's just the truth, no sugarcoating. And I didn't even think it was that entertaining, mainly because I didn't care about what was happening. That's just me being honest here. And usually if that's my reaction, I'll probably say that it's a bad movie. However, I can't say that about this one, because on a technical level, this thing is impressive. Really impressive actually. Which is kinda odd, because I didn't really like it that much as a piece of entertainment. But as someone who looks at the cinematography, how the movie looks, how it's shot, the music, the editing, how everything is put together, I really admired what they did with this. And it honestly feels like a throwback to older action movies, but with a modern spin and a really polished look. I mean, this thing looks phenomenal. It's got a really crisp and clean look, but it still doesn't look sterile. And every shot is immaculately framed and thought out. And the score is pretty much perfect. And sometimes there's no score. There are action scenes in this that don't have any score at all. And it works really well. But what I loved most was the visceral feel of the action. Because there's a lot of actual sets and real stunts in this. A lot of it. There's very little green screen and CGI compared to most modern action movies. And you really do feel the difference. It doesn't feel fake. It just feels a lot more tangible. It's also a bit of a slow burn that takes its time and doesn't rush. I appreciated that as well. So as a technical piece of action filmmaking, this is pretty much a masterpiece. It doesn't get much better than this. But as I said, I personally just didn't care about what was going on. And that pretty much comes down to the writing. It's pretty bland. It just lacks originality and creativity. A lot of the story and the beats are just bog standard action, spy thriller stuff. Bad guy plans to kill everyone and Tom Cruise has to stop him. And there's the expected twists and turns along the way. Speaking of which, there's one sequence where there's a double crossing and then a triple and quadruple crossing. And within like 5 minutes, you've had something like 5 or 6 twists. And that's not an exaggeration. I'm like, how exactly am I supposed to keep up with this? And are we done here? Who's working for who now? And who's chasing who? Also, why? If you have a twist, it might come as a surprise. Even the second one might still be a surprise. The third one? Maybe, but you're pushing it. By the time you get to the fourth one, it would be a surprise if there weren't a fifth and sixth one. They overdid it. There's no need for that. It ends up being way more convoluted than it has to be. And while I did appreciate it taking its time, 2.5 hours is a bit much. Now the pacing was fine for the most part, but those last 30 minutes did start to feel drawn out. There's something Tom Cruise needs to do, right? But it keeps slipping away, over and over and over and over. And yeah, the characters are just kind of flat and boring. There's just not much depth to them. But I honestly did like the storyline with the wife. And I don't know if that carried over from a previous movie or what, but that thing should have gotten a lot more screen time, because that was actually really well written. The rest of it though, I feel like I've seen this story and these characters in every Bond movie since the 60s. Also, this movie felt so big and epic in scale that I have no idea where they're supposed to go from here. If they're gonna keep making these movies, they pretty much gotta go back to basics. Do the complete opposite. Because they can't really ramp it up from here. Or maybe they can. So overall, would I recommend it? Kinda, but not really. If you like visually stunning action movies that bring essentially nothing new to the table, story-wise, then yeah, otherwise not so much. So maybe skip it. Maybe don't. I'm not your dad.